essentially you have your standard workflow queues, whatever it is that the end user has permissions to see. We can open these queues, load the document, load any existing annotations, view the forms, any properties, and then also apply annotations and save and route those annotations. So very, very simple, very used to, what everyone is used to seeing. All of the views for the workflows or for the views themselves are all just based off of the ImageNow permissions. So I think that kind of covers it. I'll go back real quick since we did have those audio issues. And just once again, we are not charging for yoga. You do need to have integration server transaction packs, which can be purchased from your Lexmark account executive, and we can help you understand, what level of transaction pack you need. As far as the installation of yoga is concerned, we can provide you with all of the information on how to install it, and you can certainly install it yourself. Or if you prefer, that is something that we can assist you with. So we do have quite a few questions. So let me take a look and see what other questions we have. So the underlying technologies that are used, it's pretty much, HTML5 is the front end. And then we are using some Bootstrap and some Node.js. Another question, is the pool of available workflows also dynamic? Why is there not a workflow section like the view section? So we didn't feel that there was a need to actually have a separate workflow section because you're going to see all of your workflows up here. So accounts payable in this instance is the actual workflow, and then AP detail entry and AP header entry are the available queues to that user. So yes, everything is dynamic. So when I open up or when I log in to Yoga, it's going to pull all of the workflows that user has access to and all of the queues that user has access to, and then also utilize those workflow views. I have another question. Does this work with 6.7? It does require version 7.1.3 because that is the version of the API that we're utilizing. I do apologize for everyone for the rough audio that it sounds like we were having. Can this open images from a workflow queue? Yes, that's this absolutely. So under accounts payable, that is what we're looking at here, our workflow queues, and then we are actually opening the image. So in this case, we had loaded in some fake invoices, but whatever image it is that you need, we are able to open. Someone asked if this is built from Perceptive Experience. This is not built off of the Perceptive Experience framework. This is a completely separate framework that we created. Are we planning on adding new features? Yes. We will absolutely add new features. You can always submit those and request them, and based on the demand for those new features, we may add them. The other option that we're going to be giving clients is the ability to sponsor a feature. So if there's a feature that you really want that is really a customization, then what we'll do is we'll tell you the quote for what it would cost to sponsor that feature, and then we'll actually include that feature in the next release. So I have another question. Can yoga integrate with a legacy system? Could we add a button that opens yoga and passes in a document ID to open a specific document? That is a great question. Yes, absolutely. So if you are utilizing like a ERP system, Lawson or PeopleSoft or eBusiness Suite, or really any system where you can place a button that can generate that dynamic URL like you might do presently with WebNow, yes, we can absolutely just open up Yoga through that URL the same way that you're doing it with possibly WebNow presently. As far as the mobile experience is concerned, we have not optimized this for mobile. With that being said, it works very well on a tablet, but it has not been optimized for like iPhones or anything like that. With that being said, that is something that we will be doing in the future, but at this point in time, we simply haven't made that optimization yet. There are some questions around, what else differentiates this from WebNow, from functionality, other than Java. So, I think it's kind of based on an organization's requirements. What we tried to do with Yoga is make it as simple as possible. So what that means is that it doesn't necessarily have, every feature that you could possibly imagine, but instead it has the features that you truly need for your day-to-day, processing and routing of AP documents and HR documents and legal documents. Especially, when it comes to having approvers that aren't necessarily super heavy users of ImageNow, but instead they're people that need to occasionally, approve an invoice or approve an HR document. Rather than needing to have thick clients or needing to worry about supporting, specific browsers. We're able to allow them to easily launch these documents from an email or from a third-party ERP system. There's a question around, isn't the latest version of Perceptive Content HTML5 that doesn't require Java? I believe that you're maybe referring to Perceptive Experience. Yes, there is another web client that Lexmark has released that thus far we actually haven't seen a ton of and have a ton of experience with, called Perceptive Experience. That does require that you own the HTML, or I'm sorry, that you own the WebNow licenses in order to utilize Perceptive Experience. It does utilize those ImageNow, WebNow combo license. So, one other thing I would mention in terms of the installation, right? So as of now, our messaging is really, hey, we'll show you how to install it and you can go about it yourself, or we can do it for you and we'll charge you. The reality of it is that, this is a new platform for us, and so we do want to work with you. And so, if this is something that your organization is interested in using, we will absolutely assist you with the installation at this point in time, and no, we will not charge you right now. So someone else asked, is there a basic front-end product that just loads the similar features like views, workflow, etc., without major development? And yes, that is what I'm showing you right here. This can be installed extremely quickly, and pretty much we just have to hook it up to your integration server, at which point in time we are going to automatically begin authenticating against your Perceptive Content environment. So we are automatically going to use the user's credentials to authenticate that user against Perceptive Content to see what workflows and what views they have access to, and to pull back those items that they have access to. Once again, this does require version 7.13. So if you have not upgraded to 7.13, you will need to wait until that upgrade occurs. That's, of course, something we can assist you with. Certainly contact me. Once again, my contact information is right down here. So for those of you asking how to move forward as a next step, the best thing to do is to send me an email at that email address. Another question around filters. Yes, you can utilize filters within Yoga. Can you upload files or scan into Yoga? No, not at this time. We are working on that piece of it, but at this point in time, it is truly meant for the viewing, the annotating, the coding, and the routing of documents. There's some question around the transaction packs. Definitely shoot me an email. I'll be happy to discuss transaction packs a little bit more with you and what you need to own in terms of Lexmark licenses. Will we provide assistance with questions during the installation? So at this point in time, yes, absolutely. We want to help everyone to install it and to make sure that this is successful for you. So yes, I mean, absolutely, we will assist with installations right now. So there's a question, search features. Can you build your own searches on the fly? So once again, the views and the workflow views are based off of what exists in ImageNow. So you are not building anything within Yoga. You are actually utilizing the same views that you have built within ImageNow or Perceptive Content. So if you want to build a new view, you would just build that right within Perceptive Content, and it's going to show up. Can the eForms still trigger iScripts to retrieve data, etc.? That's an excellent question. The answer to that is yes. The eForms will still continue to function as they possibly do. Is it possible to do linking using Yoga? No, not at this time. We are not presently supporting any linking. Someone else asking, does it work on versions higher than 7.13, such as 7.15? Yes. Yoga will operate on version 7.13 and higher. Someone else has asked, since this is brand new, I assume no company has used it yet. That is correct. This is the first day we are releasing it, the first day we are offering it. That's why we will, at this point in time, assist organizations with installing it free of charge and work directly with you. There's a question around, will we potentially change the cost model from free to a charge in the future? We do not have any intentions of that. Obviously, things can always change, but no, I mean, that is certainly not our intention. Our intention is to continue to grow our client base. So, someone else asked kind of a question, just help me understand more how this is beneficial. They already are on ImageNow 7.13. How can this benefit them? The main way that this can benefit just about any organization is for deploying this to those users that are not your, this isn't for your AP entry, your AP processors right now. It's always best for them to continue to use the thick ImageNow client, because that's how you're going to link. That's how you're going to do those things. But this is really beneficial for the people that have to approve those AP invoices, or the people that have to approve those HR documents, that really just want to be able to click a link, open a document, see it, and approve it. We don't want to have to dictate browsers for. Are there any issues with opening folders? No, folders are part of this release. We can absolutely open folders. Can you route documents through workflow? Yes. Once again, I'll show what it looks like if I open up one of my documents. Once it loads, I'm going to have access to route to any of the workflow queues that this user has permission to route to. So I can apply annotations. I can modify, assuming I have the correct permissions to modify, and then I can save and route. So these are the queues that this particular user that I'm logged in as has permissions to route to. So again, this is just based off of your existing permissions within ImageNow. You're not setting any permissions within Yoga. If I have the ability to route within ImageNow to this queue, then I can route to that queue within Yoga. Through scripting, will we be able to link to documents in Yoga? So I guess that depends on what you really mean by that question. So for instance, you could have what's called within queue scripts, right? So maybe I am just entering into Yoga a vendor ID into the form or something like that, and then we're pulling back data from third-party databases. Yes, we can absolutely do that. The other way that we can do scripting is through the eForm, right? So if you presently have scripts within your eForms, we can continue to pull that data. So for instance, this validate button, if I were to put in the data for this eForm, that validate button would actually continue to work. Nothing has changed there. We are displaying the real eForm, and the scripts behind it do work. Again, yes, it can open folders and the documents within them. Another question here: what measures are in place to protect and secure information? So this is not taking any information outside of ImageNow or Perceptive Content. All of your security, that all still continues to live within Perceptive Content. So your data, does remain secure within Perceptive Content. Yes, it is compatible with version 7.15. There is not a maintenance fee as long as you will maintain it on your own. We will continue to release updates. We will continue to send those updates out to everyone that is using Yoga. We will not charge for that. If at any point in time you want us to assist with updating Yoga or doing any sort of more complex integrations, we will charge you for our time then. But no, there is no maintenance fee. There's none of that. The only caveat that you could end up with a cost would be integration server transaction packs that you may have to purchase from Lexmark. Will RPI work with me to customize this to fit my business? Yes, absolutely. We can absolutely create custom versions. Generally, what we're calling that is a sponsored feature. And the reason that we're referring to it as a sponsored feature is that once we create a customized version for you, we want that customization to continue to live in all of the upgrades that we do. So if we create something special for you, for let's say your version 7.13 or your version 7.15, and then we have the next version of Yoga come out, we want that to continue to live. So yes, we can absolutely do sponsored feature requests, and then we will release those as another in the next version. There's a question around, can eForms be printed in full from within Yoga? That's a good question. I would think that they could be, because they are just living in a browser. But definitely something that we could look into, and if it doesn't already exist in full, that might be a great example of where we might have a sponsored feature request where we could create the ability to perform that. Correct that it is version 7.1.3 and up. So 7.1.3, 7.1.4, 7.1.5, all of those versions are supported and should continue to be, supported into the future. If at any point in time there are changes in the API, as in API calls are deprecated that we utilize, we will update Yoga to work with those features. Will documents with a file type other than Tiff open the same way? Will there be thumbnails for each page? Yes, there will be thumbnails. I am not sure of the exact list of document types that we're supporting right now, but it is definitely the vast majority of document types. Other than, kind of very one-off document types, we do support them all. There's another question around whether or not we have clients already beta testing this. No, we do not. Today is our release of our beta, and so no, we don't have other clients beta testing it. We are looking for clients to beta test. Once again, no, Yoga does not require any user licenses. The only license that it requires is that integration server transaction pack in order to make those API calls back to ImageNow. A demo of opening Yoga from another app. I do not have that demo at this point in time, but really it's just a matter of structuring the URL. So that's certainly something I could put together very quickly to show you what a structured URL would look like. Does Yoga require its own server? No, it does not necessarily require its own server, though as a best practice, we generally do recommend that various web applications are, each on a separate server. So sorry guys, if I miss your questions, there are a ton coming in, so I'm trying to get through them. If I don't understand the question, I will certainly reach out and touch base with you to better understand it and make sure that we get them answered. There's a question on, do all the annotations work? Yes. We're not simply just creating annotations and then throwing them in. Any annotations, to my understanding, should work. If you have a specific use case that you want to verify, once again, please feel free to email me. It's my email address below. We always send out a follow-up email following all of our webinars. You can respond to that email. You can respond to the invitation. Again, no licensing cost on Yoga. Asking about how it compares to licensing of WebNow. WebNow and ImageNow utilize combo licenses. We do not utilize any client licenses. It works off of API calls to ImageNow. Another question around any browser, any version, any client requirement. Really, it should work on any browser, any version, assuming that you're using a modern browser. We do not support IE6 or the older browsers that don't support HTML5. There's a question around, can we brand it? So that is a good question, and we've had discussions of that. And probably the way that we plan on treating branding is that would be a add-on. The reason that it's an add-on is that part of the reason that we are giving away Yoga is that we want to continue to have more and more of our brand out there. So branding it is something that we would have to discuss on a one-off basis. There's another question. I'm not sure I understand. Does this tool replace the need for WebNow and the troublesome requirement for Java? Yes, it does. It does replace the need for WebNow and the requirement for Java. There is no front-end Java used here. What you see is HTML5, Bootstrap, Node.js, all modern technologies. Another question about customizations and branding. I think we can have all of those conversations a little bit more one-off, exactly what we can do. Additional security concerns with the yoga layer. We have built it to be secure. With that being said, it is in beta. I wouldn't recommend exposing your ImageNow environment out to the internet using yoga or anything else, honestly. But no, we do not believe there to be any security concerns. That's part of the reason that we designed it to use the native ImageNow authentication. I'm having a lot of questions around server specs. I can't answer that. I'm not quite technical enough to tell you exactly what we need in terms of server specs, and that will of course have a lot to do with your volume and how many users you have using it. Question around modifying index values. Yes, you can, assuming that the user has the proper permissions, you can modify index values, custom properties, and the eForm. Question around integrating your ERP directly into Yoga. Yes, you can certainly embed links into your ERP that open a document in Yoga. That is definitely an option. Anytime you can generate that dynamic URL, then you can easily open it within Yoga. Someone else, we have a large amount of viewers that only need to approve invoices, view employee files, etc. Seems like a good solution to the issues with end user clients that have Java-related issues preventing them from viewing documents in Lawson. Exactly. That is a perfect example. Is Yoga actually a replacement for WebNow? That goes back to what your use case is for WebNow, but for the vast majority, I would say yes, absolutely. Some questions around differences between Yoga and the thick client. One of the main differences right now is just the capture ability. If you have users that are capturing documents, I would always recommend that they remain on the thick client. Linking is the other thing. If you're linking to third-party applications through Learn Mode, you would want those users to continue to use the thick client. Again, with licensing, when a user logs into Yoga, what license is used on the ImageNow side? No client licenses are used on the ImageNow side. The integration server transaction pack is what's used because it is an API call. So that's what we're utilizing. Any specific software needs to be on client devices? No, just any sort of modern day browser, Chrome, Firefox, Safari, modern versions of Internet Explorer. There's a question around email/attach feature. No, there is again no way presently to attach documents in Yoga. File size limitation, how many pages can be displayed? Nothing that we have ran into yet, but certainly something that we would be more than willing to test with you to make sure that it works for your environment. Will we have to tweak forms to display nicely in Yoga? So for the most part, I think the answer to that is no, right? I'm guessing that you're referencing the way that forms presently work within Form Server. But the way that forms are displayed within Yoga are actually the way that they're displayed within ImageNow. So no, you should not have to tweak forms to display them within Yoga. Another question is only one transaction pack used per user when in Yoga, or how does that work? So it's something that I would want to speak with you and your Lexmark account executive about. But transaction packs are actually based on the number of API calls. So you could theoretically have only one transaction pack and, have, 100 different approvers that use the one transaction pack because, they only go in and approve invoices on a, more rare basis. So no, you do not necessarily need a transaction pack per user. You can have multiple users that are operating off of one transaction pack. Can we embed buttons in Lawson that will be able to display the docs in Yoga similar to WebNow? Yes, absolutely. We can call documents from Lawson straight into Yoga by passing that dynamic URL the same way you're doing it in WebNow. Yep, we can absolutely do that. So I believe I answered, if not all of the questions, almost all of the questions. I may have skipped over a couple, but with that being said, absolutely feel free to reach out. You can email me here at the glilienfeld@rpic.com email address. You will also receive a follow-up email from us, or email the respond to the original email invitation that you received. So anything that I can do to help answer questions, I'm certainly here to do. Again, for those that are interested in installing Yoga and utilizing it while we are in this what we're calling version 0.9 beta release, we will absolutely work with you to get Yoga installed and working in your environment, as we would like client references. So definitely please reach out to me if you have any interest whatsoever. With that being said, I really appreciate everyone's time today, and please let me know any way that I can help, whether it's with Yoga or any of your other perceptive content capture or Kofax KTM needs. Please reach out. Thanks so much and have a great day.